Support limit is 22 ships. Right now we have 18. If we go over that limit, we're going to start paying money. If you go over by 1 unit, it's not going to kill you. It's fine. But just really try to keep it underneath. But you incur no penalties. There's no difference between having a support limit of 30 and a support limit and a total amount of troops of 9 and a total amount of troops of 30, except for the amount of money you're paying in maintenance. So that's it. That's the military screen. Any questions? It should be stated, by the way, that if you're rich enough, you can always keep land up to maximum maintenance. I mean, you might as well. So you can see if I hover over it, I can see I have a morale of armies +2. Well, if it's at 50 or 50% around like this, I only get 1.2. 1.12, I mean. So any questions, anyone? No? No? Okay. Just drink some water. So that's military tech. Military, everything about military. Religion. Okay. Religion. So obviously up here we are Catholic. Each religion in the game has different positives and negatives, mostly positives. So we can see Catholics, we get an increase in yearly colonists. Yearly missionaries is increased by +0.25. Diplomats is increased by +2. Colonists chance by 20%. Missionary chance by 5%. But then our tolerance of heretics, which I'll talk about, is subtracted, and it costs us 20. So remember if I was showing you this graph over here, stability? See, these all hover at around 20, depending on if I have a church. Churches decrease the stability cost, but basically Catholic states, they're going to pay a base of 20 per province that are Catholic. And it depends per religion. You can see what other religions are like. Let's go, for example, to Moskva, and they're Russian. We can see the large Orthodox sign. If we hover over it, we can see that Orthodox, they get yearly colonists of +1, missionaries +0.25, missionary chance of 5%, but then their stability cost per province is only 15%. So they can upgrade their stability much faster than we can. A higher stability cost is worse. You want to have as low as you can stability, so your stability increases faster. If you remember back from investments, we want this bar to be as low as possible. We want to be able to get to the next level faster. So that's stability, and that's how it's affected. Different religions are different. You can go look at, for example, Sunni Islam, different advantages. Most importantly, though, later on, the Protestant Reformation will occur, and then we will have the chance of converting. So it's always a good idea to go and see what the advantages of being Protestant or Reformed are versus Catholic. But we can look at that later. So these are your religious decisions. For all decisions, if you just hover over it, like Pass Blasphemy Act, it'll give you a description of what it is, which is cool, like a flavor thing. And then we have like what we need to do for it, the question mark. So a ruler has to, we have to have a ruler at administrative skill of at least 6. If we go back here, so we have a ruler administration skill of 6. So that's good. And that's all we need. So then we can pass it. And so Castile gets Blasphemy Act until 1st January 1821, which means basically until the end of the game. So instead of saying until the end of the game, they just say 1st January 1821. And it will give us the effects of a +5% stability cost modifier. So all our provinces will cost 5% extra. But our missionary costs will subtract by -6. For now, I don't have any. I don't need to send any missionaries, and I don't want to increase my stability costs for no reason. But later on, I will pass this. Other ones, we need a missionary. Right now, we have 0 missionaries. We have 0.7, so maybe next month or two we'll get one, and then we can pass send a delegate to the Pope. You can do this as many times as you want. It gives you papal influence of +2. Other ones require a theologian, which is a great person, if you remember, someone of the court. So you just have to look through them. Each of them have different effects. Active uniformity, it's very good. Yearly missionaries +0.4, missionary cost -8. But to do that, we need a government technology of at least 815. And I'll talk about centralization versus decentralization. It needs to be less than 0. Other than that, now we have tolerance. Obviously, you're going to be tolerant to your own faith. So we have 4 for Catholicism. You want to have as high as you can for your own faith, because this also affects countries that have the state religion. Our state religion is Catholicism. So although our provinces may be Muslim, some of them may be Muslim, our state religion is Catholicism. So our relation with our people and everything and other countries depends on having a good state religion, a good tolerant religion. Other than that, we have heretical beliefs, which is Orthodox, and later on we'll have Protestants included in this group, and that's -2. So when I'm talking to the Muscovites, because their official religion is Orthodox, as we can see on the side, it's gonna be harder to deal with them because we are less accepting of them. And usually for heathens, it's like pretty much everyone else that's not of our religious group. Heretics are of our religious group. Heathens, so Sunni, Shia, everyone to Shinto, Confucian. These are all the religions, by the way, in the game. These guys are -2, so it's going to be harder for us to deal with them diplomatically. But also, if once we conquer Granada, we're going to get a penalty in tax. Our people are not going to want to pay us much tax because we're not tolerant of them. These can change. If you remember, it depends on legitimacy a lot. If you have high legitimacy, tolerance of heretics and heathens is increased by 1. But if I have low legitimacy, this can get bad, and it hurts our relations. So you can see if I hover over Muscovy, see current relations is 45. See, so -0.6 because we have a different religion. But if I go to the Ottomans, who -1.2 because we're in a different religious group, and that's for all heathens, so Sunni, Shia, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever. Down here, so that's tolerance. Down here we have Defender of the Faith, which is basically an option later on in the game. It's a bit too expensive because you have to pay 500 for it. But if you have higher prestige, if you have very high prestige, you can get it, and it gives you a lot of bonuses. You can see morale and morale of armies and navies is increased. Monthly war exhaustion decreased. Yearly prestige increased. And but at the expense of higher trade and production cost modifier. In my opinion, it's definitely worth it, unless you're very far behind in trade and production. But basically, being Defender of the Faith is quite a good thing. But this means that you'll get you should and you'll be expected to get into a war whenever someone of a different religious group invades one of your religious brethren. So if I'm Defender of the Faith and the Ottomans invade Hungary, I'll be expected to join Hungary and defend Hungary against the Ottomans. If you're playing as the Ottomans, however, or the Mamluks or whoever, and you're trying to expand into Christian Europe, you're always going to have to be careful of whoever the Defender of the Faith is, because they can get dragged into the war with you. However, if I'm Defender of the Faith and I lose a war, I lose this ability. If I concede defeat or anything, it's up for grabs for anyone. And after 24 months, after 1 year, anyone who has a higher prestige than me, and obviously 500 gold to spare, can snatch the title away from me. So it depends on, first and foremost, prestige, if you have high enough prestige, and then if you have that 500 gold lying around, which at the beginning of the game you should not have. So that's religion. Part of religion also is, and actually is the rebel. I guess they couldn't fit rebel factions anywhere else. So at the bottom, right now we don't have any rebels, but it'll see which rebel factions are forming, and if we need to give independence to or give independence to a certain country. We can give in to their demands, and there are many different demands, many different rebel groups. It really depends. Right now we don't have any rebels. When I do have rebels, I'll show you guys. So yeah, so that's the religion screen. Okay, government. Sorry, just drinking some water. Government is also very important. This is where we see the more long-term effects. We can see our form of government. We're a feudal monarchy. So ruler reigns until death. Year between policy change is 11.4. These are policies, by the way. So it takes us 11.4 years to change again. Change the sliders here. We get an increase in magistrates, 0.5. National manpower modifier is increased by 10%, and land force limits modifier is increased by 28%. Force limits, remember, is this. This is the force limits. So this is increased because we have feudal monarchy. Support limit is force limits. If I click on this, I can see everything I get here, and then I can see what I can change to. Currently, I can change to despotic monarchy if I want to, at the expense of 1 stability cost. Despotic monarchy, it's kind of a step backwards. I only get, it takes me 13.6 years to change my policies. I also get yearly magistrates of 0.5, but the advantage of despotic monarchy, like Muscovy, is infamy limit. So I get a 10 plus 10 increase to my infamy limit. So that's very helpful if you're going to be conquering a lot. For me, though, I like having the land force limits modifier and the national manpower modifier. So for me, it's good as it is. Later on, though, you are going to want to change to more sophisticated government types. Right now, these are grayed out because we do not have the technology to. We haven't discovered kind of administrative monarchy or absolute monarchy, and these are through the government technology later on. But you can see they have different advantages, but they cost a little bit more. They cost us 2 stability. At the max, like moving from a monarchy to a republic, it'll cost us something like 5 stability. So it really depends on from what to what you're moving. If you go online, actually, you can very easily find a like a flow chart of different governments to get from one government to another. So you could very well become a merchant republic playing as Castile. Although, I mean, that really wouldn't fit the playing type of it. Down here we have national ideas. You have a total of 12 different national ideas which you can pick. The first one is activated at Government Technology 4. We are currently at 3. The next one is at 9, 11, 17, so on and so forth, until up to Government Technology 65. So right now we're just one tech group away, and then we can get a national idea. National ideas are extremely helpful and allow you to customize your nation. I'll talk about them more when they become available, but as we can see, Morocco, for example, they start off with military drill. You can see all the countries' national policies right here. So military drill gives them morale of +1. Ottomans, they have national conscripts, which is 50%. Mamluks, also national manpower modifier, 50%. So they get more manpower, basically. Hijaz, for example, they have divine supremacy, so yearly missionaries +0.5, yearly papal influence +5%. Obviously, papal influence doesn't count because they're Muslim, but for us, if I chose divine supremacy, I would get better papal influence. Yeah. Usually the Muslims, they're either military drill or national conscripts. For those of you playing an older version, not 5.1, for example, this is usually like shipwrights or something, but it's been changed to national conscripts for manpower or military drill. So that's that. Also, you can change your national idea, but it costs you 3 stability. So unless it's really become useless for you, you should stick to your national idea. And talking about inflation, there's a national idea which dramatically decreases inflation for you. but it's a choice if you want to select it at the beginning of the game or not. Okay, so that's national ideas. Domestic policies. These are another